The Dearborn Independent, October 24th, 1925, Volume 26, Number 1. Mr. Ford's page. War is not a matter for the professional pacifist or militarist. It is for the unprofessional people. They finance and fight it, they bear its losses, therefore they should have the deciding voice concerning it. To do this, they require all the information upon which decisions are made. They should know in a difference whether it is solvable by rational intelligence or inevitably by force. Not once in 1,000 instances would our people, this may not be true for all people however, approve an offensive war. Never would they be lax in defensive action, for this is their country. However, most of their enemies are within it. War will never be stopped by the pacifists. The peace will never be won by the war makers. Both are products of the same disease that is seeing its last phase in human society. As long as there exists on earth the warring type of mind and it has instruments to execute its purpose, war is possible. But as was shown in the last war, the military strength of the peaceable and non-war-making nations is greater than those of the war-making nations. And strange as it may seem, the strength has increased. One sign that the world is growing better is that the non-war-making nations are strong enough to curb the war-making nations. War as a method of accomplishing anything is now resisted, and in the future will be more and more resisted until even the war-making mind will learn the futility of it. That is the fallacy of disarming the non-war-making nations. Can you imagine the United States starting a war? Can you imagine the United States refusing to crush a war started against it? With these two views, can you imagine anyone starting a war against the United States? It is not our well-known inclination to peace that guards us. It is our well-known disinclination to stand for anyone disturbing our peace. It is just here that the fallacy of professional pacifism is seen. Pulling the teeth of the watchdog and letting the wolves run free is not the way to bring in the prophet's vision of universal harmony. The rest of the world knows it has nothing to fear from the force and power of the United States. But all the world knows that the United States would not be safe for long if it were helpless to defend itself. Pacifism is an excellent doctrine if preached to those parts of the world where the war-making mind is rampant. To arm the bandit of the world and disarm its law-abiding citizen is not the way to stop international holdups. Counseling the decent citizen to disarm himself as an example to the thug indicates unfounded confidence in the thug's susceptibility to Christian example. It is a pious fiction, that which none near apes a lie. And militarists are just as helpless to bring peace. They are specialists in force, just as pacifists are specialists in sentiment. They do not, perhaps they cannot, take in the whole situation. The worst of them have won wars, the best of them have never won a peace. We mean no cavil at them. At the rate they're soldiers, their lives are their countries. They have their highest code of honor. At critical times they have saved the citadel of civilization. But when we consider things that are to be, we cannot say that the military world, even at its best, contains the secret of progress. It is coming from the people. The people are not going to become as soft as pacifists would like to see them. Not as hard as extreme militarists desire, but they're going to excel in the strategy of common sense. The fact that our people are not war starters is not going to prevent them from being war stoppers, and such effective war stoppers that war starters will hesitate. This does not go for all the people of earth as yet, but the certain nations. Some nations will probably try to start and have to be stopped once more before the lesson is thoroughly learned. After that, better sense It is worth observing that the peace spirit is rising in those nations which have been most successful in their wars. Most successful in their wars means most successful in stopping wars. These nations have spread and become powerful, but they have never indulged delusions of world dominations. All the big war starters have had that delusion. The war stoppers have not had it. Yet the war stoppers got the dominion. Blessed are the war stoppers, for they shall inherit the earth which the war starters hope to get. With this power, the ability to stop wars will go forward a step. We shall become able to stop wars before they start. We shall do that not only by having undoubted ability to outfight the fighters, but with that ability we shall also have the greater ability to statesmanly management of problems, a spirit of justice in settlements, and a spirit of service in relations. These invisible, these intangible things shall be our strongest weapons, for after all, real power is invisible. In the invisible world, not only of the idea, but the higher, right-directed world which we indicate by the term ideal, the power of the future will be found.